Today's review is on the first ever Christmas episode of It's Pony. One morning, Annie wakes up and meets up with Pony outside of the apartment. Annie notices snowing. Pony notices a guy looking in his trunk. And Annie had that pissed off look like, really, Pony? Pony, look at the snow. Why do you think it's so important for a guy to be looking in his trunk? They plan on doing their snow traditions, and Annie's Nana, Ruth, is coming to celebrate Christmas with the family. Pony calls Ruth Edith for some reason. Apparently, Ruth will not be coming due to injuring her ankle, but they will visit her in Clifton, except for Pony. Annie is not happy, and according to her father, George, the plane does not allow ponies. And then they show Annie, as she is on the plane, is wondering what Pony is doing back at the house. They show a guy playing cards and I guess chess with chickens. And then he mentions about where is Pony, but he thinks Pony is some weird dog. This isn't the first time Pony was mistaken as a weird dog, because a guy later who goes on a bus to Clifton, he mistakes Pony as a weird dog. They don't even think he looks like a pony. I mean, to me, Pony doesn't really look like that much of a pony. To me, not that much. Pony just looks like any regular horse, but he looks like a mixture of a horse giraffe hybrid. Like, he makes me think of like a little bit of a giraffe because he has a long neck and like the hairs on the back of his head and whatnot. Anyways, Annie from the plane window notices a violin case shaped like Pony. So she's thinking he found a way to get on the plane. The violin case falls and Annie gets off the plane. Then someone runs over the case, and luckily Pony was not in the case. Annie then notices Pony with a suitcase over his head. The plane leaves as George and Helen see her. Now Pony and Annie are all alone, but they are pumped since they get to go back home and do snow stuff. Pony takes forever trying on hats to wear the perfect one. So they are finally going out for fun until George and Helen return from the airport. They were gone for 6 hours, so Pony spent those 6 hours trying on hats. If he didn't take forever trying to choose which hat to wear, Pony and Annie would have been gone outside by now having their snow fun. They're also not allowed on the plane anymore. Well, mainly, pretty much George. George is not allowed on the plane. Apparently cell phones aren't allowed even during emergencies. Really? So he's not allowed to have a cell phone even during emergencies? Emergencies happen. Okay, if he has an emergency on the plane, he should have a cell phone. That's just stupid. That's just stupid. Anyways, all Annie could do was think about her Nana while her and Pony were having their snow fun. They're walking in the city. Annie sees a guy saying, "Next stop, Clifton," as people are in line. Annie has an idea. She was thinking that she, Pony, and her parents could go see Ruth by catching a ride on the bus. The guy says the bus ride is for cast only. Annie has a plan and tells Pony to call George and Helen. All four of them are on the bus in costumes. Annie is in a costume as a candy cane. Pony is a reindeer. George is Santa, which is good for him since he's a big guy. I would say he's jolly, but the dude is not jolly, especially towards Pony. Ho, ho, ho. And Helen is dressed as an elf. Everything is fine until Pony is about to sing a song, and he's not a very good singer, unfortunately, and the family are kicked off the bus. So George finds another way to get to his mother's. He doesn't want anyone, especially Pony, to step off the road for the sake of a shortcut. And they end up somewhere else. And so he is not pleased, and he says to Pony sarcastically, "Thanks a lot, reindeer." We come to find out the truth. Apparently, Pony couldn't go on the plane, not because that the plane wouldn't allow ponies. It's just that apparently if they were to get another ticket, it would cost a lot. So apparently Pony was costing him a lot of money to get a ticket for him. So he figured that he'd make up a lie telling Helen, Pony, and Annie that ponies weren't allowed. But when really George wanted to go see his mom so bad because it was Christmas that he figured he'd just leave Pony behind. Not to mention, Helen told George that Pony is family. But George truly disagrees, and he says that they just say that. Helen and Annie were not happy. They were very upset with George, and you can't blame them. Okay, George, for some reason, never liked Pony since the beginning of the series. I don't know, I guess he just finds Pony a troublemaker, and he was never found a Pony. But it seems like really the only time he was found of Pony was the episode where Pony ends up being a school pet and he can't go home with Annie anymore. With things not working out at the house, he happens to say that he doesn't miss Pony, but when deep down he really does. So, and then towards the end, he's relieved to see Pony as he hugs him, and they're hugging each other on on the floor, and he tells him never leave his side, and then Pony hugs him back. I bet Pony in his mind was like, "Oh, Dad, I knew you always loved me. Come here and let me hug you, buddy." Come here, you. So, yeah, but apparently George was never found of Pony. And then he says, look, you know how things go with him. And then Annie doesn't know what he's talking about. So George doesn't say anything. He just looks around as he wanted Annie to, like, you know, a hint for an example how things go with Pony. And so Pony gasps, and then he's like, okay, that's fair. So he agrees what George is talking about. So all of a sudden, they still continue walking. But Annie pretty much makes a snowball and hits George. Then George makes a snowball and hits Annie. And so Pony's laughing, and so Annie hits Pony. Then the three of them hit Helen, and they all have a snowball fight together until a bear is after them. So they hide in the cave. Annie still hasn't forgiven her father. George says he knows and he's sorry. And then Pony says that he is forgiven for that. But then Annie tells him, Pony, no, he's not forgiven. And then Pony's like, oh, okay, oops, my bad. And then he angrily says to George, yeah, you are not forgiven. Thank you, Pony. Have some backbone. Get at George. Yeah. I know Pony's a nice and caring pony, but I wish he would have some backbone to get at George for treating him like crap. It's like, Pony, stop being too nice. I just wish Pony would have some backbone just to finally put his hooves down and give George a piece of his mind. Have some backbone. So Annie tells George that he's not fair to Pony, since Pony is loyal, caring, and he's always there for the family. And she does make a good point. It's like, look, George, I get it. Pony does happen to mess up plans. He tends to mess up situations where they backfire and they don't turn out right. I get it. But it's not like Pony is doing it on purpose. Pony means well. He's a good-hearted pony that cares and is loyal to the family. I mean, it's not like he's doing it on purpose. The dude acts like he's a low-down, selfish asshole of a pony. Now, if that was the case, if Pony was a asshole of a pony, okay, then I can understand you not being found a pony. But he's not, okay? So just because he messes up a bit doesn't mean that you should have the right to treat him like crap and not see him as family. That just makes you look like a jerk, George, especially in this episode. So you can't blame Helen and Annie for being mad at you, because you had it coming. Like, come on, give Pony a break. I mean, sure, there's been moments where Pony has screwed up certain situations and stuff. And yes, there have been times where Annie gets upset with him saying, Pony, look what you did. Pony. And she'll give him that dull look on his face or give him the face palm. But, you know, at the end of the day, she still loves and cares for Pony. You know, she's not going to, like, not see him as family because of that. unlike you. So then all of a sudden, the lights from Pony's antlers work. So then the bear finds them. They run out of the cave. Pony protects George from the bear, and then he accidentally hits the bear. So Pony runs. George, Helen, and Annie look on as they're running, and they don't see Pony, but the antlers that were falling in the water. So now they're thinking the bear attacked Pony, and he fallen into the water, and now Pony is gone. But he's fine. He just threw his antlers into the water to distract the bear, and the bear thinking that Pony jumped into the water, so the bear fell into the water, and now the bear is frozen. Bye-bye, bear. So they're happy that Pony is safe. They hug him, and then Pony's upset about his antlers falling into water. Then he's thinking about going in the water to get them back, but then Annie stops him, and she tells him, no, don't do it. It's not worth it. So they finally arrive at Ruth's. Ruth pranked the family for them to see her during the holidays, even though they were almost killed by a bear. So her ankle is fine. Pony insisted on taking a family photo. George gets Pony in the photo since he's family. And finally, George told Pony that he's family. Thank you, George. It's about time. And then Pony just hugged him, called him Snow Dad. And everybody says, Pony, like cheese, when you're taking a picture. That was the It's Pony Bramley Holiday Christmas episode. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. And it's about time that George finally sees Pony as part of the family. So now it looks like George won't have to treat Pony like crap anymore. I hope he doesn't do that anymore. I hope not. Because it would be wrong and messed up if they go back to having George be the same old George before the Christmas episode. Because if that's the case, it's like, what was the point of doing this episode? At first, I didn't like George, and I really did not like him in this episode. He truly showed his jerkness in this episode. So tell me your thoughts on the It's Pony Bramley Holiday Christmas episode. Did you enjoy it? And are you relieved and glad that George does not treat Pony like crap and that he accepts him as a part of the family? All right, that's it. See you later. And hopefully you all have a wonderful Christmas this year.